Well, it's the FIA European Drag Racing Championship. Round 4, Norway, Top Fuel and Pro Stock. Gardemoen the place. And it was Barry Sheevels who needs to beat the American Gardemoen. But Alan Jackson could level the series if he wins. In Pro Stock, Niclas Andersson can clinch the championship today against Michael Malmgren, Yannick Canola and Jakob Ferrer. We start with the quarterfinals of Pro Stock. And this man, Michael Malmgren, in the blue and white Panasonic Oldsmobile Cutlass, is under pressure. He has to beat Yannick Canola in the right lane if he's to have any hope of winning the championship. Just moving into the pre-stage. Malmgren knows he needs a good start. Any second. And they're away, and Malmgren away first. It's close, but Canola overhauls Malmgren and wins, and that's good news for Niclas Andersson. It means that he will be almost impossible to beat. Here's the slow-mo, and Malmgren is out with that 0.415. Remember that in drag racing, 0.4 of a second is the quickest reaction time, so he did well. But it's Canola, who we see here, taking it. Now the second quarter-final, Jakob Ferrer in the white car against Paul Brander. Ferrer should take the win here. He's been putting in good performances all year. That's Brander's car. And Ferrer could be a real threat for the championship next season. Ferrer wants to put the pressure on Brander here, so I imagine he's going into stage first, putting the real question to Brander. Waiting for those lights to change. A few hearts bumping now. Any second now. And at the beginning, Brander gets a great start. The two cars are neck and neck, but Ferrer clearly has more power and pulls out a half-car lead. A good win, putting him through, and Brander goes out. And Brander's reaction time, you see there, 0.459 against Ferrer, 0.49. Normally Pro Stock is one on the lights, but the speed of the shifts up the strip and the power of the motor took Ferrer through. And there we see it, just on the line. Now this is the man in the red and white car, Niclas Andersson from Sweden. Next to him, it's Norway's Kjetil Hauge. If Niclas wins here, it'll be very difficult for Michael Malmgren to catch up in the series. That's Hauge moving into pre-stage first, and he'll need to get a very good start indeed. All eyes on the lights. And Hauge, a good start. This could be the upset that the series needs to keep it alive. But Andersson catches him at the end and wins by just a whisker. On the slow motion, we can see just how quick Hauge was. He knew that he had to be fast, and Andersson was comparatively slow with a 0.548 reaction time. And his power pulled him through. The red and white streak just through. So after the quarterfinals, it looks like this. Ferrer gets a bye run, and Andersson will meet Canola. Well, let's take a closer look at this man. He's our champion designate. Just a brief look at his road to the top. It started in Santapod in England at round 1. He took a good win against Hauge there. In Finland, it didn't all go Andersson's way. His old adversary, Tommy Lane, put in an appearance and put Niclas out in the semis. For once, the red and white car not first to the line. But he returned to form in Sweden and took maximum points and increased his lead over Malcolm Malmgren in the series. If he wins here in Norway, the title is his. But now onto the top guns, the top fuelers. 300 miles per hour, blink and you miss them. We start with Barry Sheebles against Robin Reid. Barry's last year's champion, undoubtedly one of the most talented and amiable of drivers. He's had all sorts of difficulties with his new car this year though. If he can make it stick to the track, he can easily run under 5 seconds. Robin Reid is not expected to win, but gaining valuable data for next year. Beautifully prepared. Magnificently quick. Sheebles has moved into first stage. And as the green, Robin is away, but runs straight into mechanical problems. Barry stays on the power. Well, we saw for a second there the nitro fumes. See them again there. As he flies through a great run. On the slow motion, we can see Reid has a quicker reaction time before backing off, and we can see Barry pedalling the car at half track. The danger of coming off the accelerator could have been that coming on it quickly would have blown the engine. We're into the second final and number one, the second semi-final. Gardemoen is up against the number 2, Alan Jackson. Very significant race. If Jackson was to win and go through to win the final, he'd level the series. If Bonen wins here in Norway, we'll have a very big lead in the series, making it very tough on Jackson. Jackson just has to win. Gordy creeping into the stage first. They're away. Jackson lights his tyre up. Oh, and he's out. But Bonen is burning parts in the right lane. More drama in this top fuel section. And maybe if Jackson had stayed on, he could have gone through. Very close reaction time. Both over 0.5 of a second. Bonen is looking good. So Gardemoen, a little bit of luck there, because that could very easily have gone the other way. Let's hear from him.
Broke a blower belt again. Thank God he smoked the tires. But the thing was on a pretty good run. That was part of the problem that we had. Is one of those what else can go wrong? A magneto went wrong, so it had a real bad 60-foot time, and it was lumbering on down there, and broke the blower belt. And I thought, here we go again, same as Stockholm last weekend. But the guy never went by me, so that was the slowest win I've ever had.
Doesn't matter how slow you go, as long as you're first to the flag. The ladder to the final looking like that, then Bonen will meet Barry Sheebles in a big, big showdown. On to Pro Stock, and Jacob Ferrer takes his bye run. Now drivers can elect to drive the bye run, that's when they're through anyway. And they can run slowly to preserve their cars, or they can try to put in a quick time as the fastest time in the next round gets lane choice. Ferrer knows that he'll need every advantage if he is to meet Andersson in the final, and he flies through that one. And the second semi-final, Niclas Andersson against Yanni Canola. Canola still in the hunt for a position in the series, but want to beat Andersson as Ferrer is one of his main rivals. And they move top the photoelectric beams. They'll be thinking of their tactics at the start. Canola goes into the stage first. Canola reacts first, and we're waiting on those lights. There he is. But it's the black and white car that leaps into action, and Andersson powers through again, and the red and white streak, well, just does it again. Here's the slow-mo. Reaction times show Canola is away in 0.494 against a slower time of 0.528. Harry Canola proves that with a bit more power next year, he's certainly going to be one of the top Pro Stock drivers in Europe. And now the final. Jacob Ferrer versus Niclas Andersson. Ferrer having had the bye. And here we go. Niclas Andersson will burn out in the left lane. Remember, the burnout heats the slicks and cleans them to ensure maximum traction on the track. The track is sprayed with glue prior to each race meeting to make it more sticky. Can Ferreira do it? Here's promoter Keith Bartlett.
Fourth round of this year's championship. Niclas is last year's champion. He's been tearing everyone up this year. I'm just certain Niclas will just continue to do so. Niclas will win.
Well, the strip at Gardemoen is in the beautiful pine countryside of southern Norway. It's about an hour north of Oslo. And Jacob Ferrer in the white car has made a good recovery this season. After a bad shunt in Sedan, in 1998, but have his work cut out against Andersson. Just keeping it a little bit cooler inside. Remember the body temperature of these guys as they go into this final. Very, very hot indeed. Ferrer trying to win the psychological battle as they come up to pre-stage to unsettle Andersson. Andersson drives the red and white car straight into the stage. He's got to get into this faster. Ferrer can't hang about. They'll change now, and it's go, 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 and that is going to be very close indeed. Ferrer's got the hammer down, but Andersson is too strong. He's too strong, the red and white streak again, and he's won it. At the start it was neck and neck. Niclas Andersson pulled away, becomes the FIA European Pro Stock Champion of 1999. We can hear now from an absolutely delighted Niclas Andersson.
And yeah, it was a fantastic day, and it was very tough today and very close, Tripoli Pro Stock. So, and we have a Jakob Perry to final, and he's a good driver, and it was tough.
And now from Jakob Perry.
Run for you, Jakob?
Well, not really. We ran pretty fast this run, so I'm quite pleased with the run, but they were a bit faster, so it's our time next time.
So in the championship, Andersson dominates at the top with 411 points against Malmgren's 262. Soon the top fuel. Yes, the top fuel final. The Pine Forest reverberates to the sound of 12,000 horsepower, no less, cracking and popping as Barry Sheebles meets Gardemoen. Oh, Bonen. He's had his fair share of luck in the competition so far, hasn't he? Sheebles against Bonen. What a final that could be. We start the burnouts, atmosphere building up, and let's hear again from the promoter on who he thinks can win it. Here's Keith Bartlett.
A real turn up for the books this weekend, mostly because Alan Jackson didn't make it, and we all thought he probably would get through to the final. Perhaps more importantly, Barry Sheebles and Runa have really got the car finally sorted out and made some very strong qualifying passes. And although Gordy is leading the championship and is a very, very strong runner, I actually feel today just could be Barry's day, and I think Barry may just sneak by Gordy.
Barry Sheebles reversing, and we can see the huge slicks that these cars run on. Run at about 5 pounds per square inch. The tyre increases in diameter and gets thinner as the car accelerates. Grip is essential, and that is what had eluded Sheebles so far this year. Last minute checks. The cars will soon move up to the line. After the pre-stage, the drivers increase fuel pressure. The cars drink a gallon a second of highly explosive nitromethane. These cars need to be seen and heard to be believed. Why not take a trip to Santa Pod sometime and go and see them? Bonen stages first. Barry goes in and away, and Barry is out like a shot. Bonen is left standing. Bonen is away, but Sheebles has switched off. He had it in the back, and Bonen powers through. Sheebles just switched it off. Let's have a look at that slow-mo. Bonen was just stuck at the start. Barry looked to be on a good run, but ran into trouble. Bonen is a lucky, lucky man. Well, the series is going the way of the American with 243 versus 177 for Alan Jackson. All to play for at the final round in England. Let's hear from Jody Bonen.
We've had so many things go wrong with us this weekend. I thought it was like Barry's car from the first two events. And it was like one of those, don't ever ask yourself what else can go wrong, because it's happened this weekend. And just before the final, we had something else go wrong. And I was thinking too much about that and lost it. And I saw him out there, and thank God he shut off.
In the previous round, when we, in the semi-finals, we had a complete clutch system. So we had to put all the old parts in and just make a clutch up. And it left really hard, but I thought I heard something inside there, and obviously if the clutch goes, over-rev the motor, and that's history for the motor, and at the moment we just can't afford that. So I thought it was best. I mean, the championship's gone for me now, so I thought it was best to try and save the motor.